Hey, what is up guys? Welcome back to another video, and in this video we are going to be continuing on with our C# tutorial series, and in this particular tutorial we are going to be covering how we can join and append strings. Now this is also called concatenation in various aspects, right? So what I want to show you is the ways that we can take two strings and join them together, append them. And then I also want to show you what we call string interpolation, where we can essentially put a special marker of sorts in a string and then dynamically pass a value to insert that value into that string. So let's get started, and we're going to start with two string variables. We're going to say string first name. We're going to set this equal to John. And then we're going to have another string called last name. We're going to set that to Doe. Now what if I want to have a third variable called full name? Well, we can do that by saying string full name. We're going to call this full name 1. And we are going to say first name plus last name. And so now, full name 1 is equal to whatever the first name is plus the last name. However, keep in mind that if you do it this way, just this with the first name plus the last name, they will be jumbled together with no spaces. So let's say we run this, so we can do a Control F5. In your debug console that pops up, you will see that we have John Doe, but with no spaces. Or rather, we don't see that because we didn't print it out to the console. So let's do that real quick. Probably a good idea, right? So we can go console.writeLine full name 1. Now if we do a Control F5, there's John Doe with no spaces. And that's not what we want, right? That is not what we want. Well, let's go ahead and go here. We're gonna go back into the code here. And where we have a first name plus last name, we're going to put another plus sign here. And in between these two pluses, we're going to do double quotes with a space. And so now, go ahead and do a Control F5 again. And now you can see we have John Doe with no spaces. Or rather, with spaces, I should say. We have John Doe with a space in between. And that is the first way of joining and appending strings. There's another basic way that I'm going to show you in this video, and that's using the plus equals operator that we looked at before. So let's go ahead then, and we're going to say we want, let's see, where is, okay, there we go. So let's say we want to have another string, and we're going to call this full name 2. And then we're going to set this equal to we're going to set this equal to nothing for now. So we're going to initialize it to nothing. And then after we initialize it to a empty string, we can say full name 2 plus equals first name. Now the full name 2 will be equal to will rather hold the same string value as first name. Then we can go ahead and do full name 2 plus equals a space, and then the same thing, full name 2 plus equals last name, like that. And so now, if we console write line full name 2, like that, we can do a control F5. Okay, so we got an error. Let's go ahead and go into our error list and see what error we've got. Okay, so get rid of that L, or rather the N, I should say. Okay, so now let's try this. Okay, and when you run it, you will see that we have John Doe, just like we had previously when we did the single plus signs. Oh, I am sorry, guys, about the sniffling. I'm still not feeling all that great, so please bear with me. But as you can see, that is how we can concatenate strings together, and from multiple values and stuff like that to create another singular value. Now, let's take a look at string interpolation. String interpolation allows us to dynamically inject a string, or like a string in this case, or you can do an integer or a decimal value. But in this case, we're going to do a string. We can inject that into another string, rather than like doing a plus or plus equals. We can just do it directly, and we can do this. We're going to use a console write line statement as an example. So if you want to print out a statement that says your full name is colon space and then have the full name, you could just do what we did up above with the plus signs and say your full name is colon space plus full name, and that would work. But sometimes you want to clean up your code. You want to make sure your code is nice and clean, and that's where string interpolation comes in. And we can do this by saying console, I should say, dot write line. And then in here, we can give this 2 parameters. Or we can give it multiple parameters, really. But we just need 2. We need the string we want to output. So in this case, we'll just do an empty string for now. And then a comma. And then this will be, the second argument will be the thing we want to inject into the string. And in this case, we'll pass it full name, like that. Okay. So inside the quotes now, we're going to say your full name is colon space, and then here we need to tell the C# compiler, okay, we want to inject a string here, or we want to inject a value here. And how do we do that? Well, we do that by doing a opening and closing curly brace, and then in between those curly braces, put a 0. Now, if you want multiple of these, you just increase that value by 1. So if you want 2, you should have a opening and closing curly braces with a 0, and then opening curly braces with 1, and just keep on going, depending on how many values you need to inject into the overall string. But as it stands now, we have our console write line statement completed. Let's go ahead and save our code and hit Control F5. There was a build error. Let's go ahead and do a Control W, Control E to go into our error console. And it says full name does not exist. Oh, okay, yeah. That's right, because we added a 1 to it. There we go. Full name 1. There we go. Go ahead and save your code. And inside your debug console, you'll see John Doe, and your full name is John Doe. So that is essentially how we can join and append strings, as well as using string interpolation to inject values into a string. So thank you all so very much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.